Hi, I'm Casey, and welcome to Parenting PDA Your Way. I am a mom of two PDA kids and the founder of At Peace Parents. Once a week on Fridays, I coach a parent of a pathologically demand avoidant child or teen and help that parent make progress towards more stability and peace in their home. In doing so, my goal is to support you to practice new skills and bring non judgment, compassion, and maybe a little humor to the trickiest of situations that we face as parents of PDA children. Welcome, welcome, and let's get started. Hello.
Hi, Casey.
Hi, Mom. How are
Oh,
you?
good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for submitting a question. It's good to see you.
My pleasure.
How are you feeling today?
I feel great. I was happy to see in my inbox that I was selected because I did have an extra question. I did do the program with you in 2024 September, so last year.
Yes, I
And it
remember.
was,
I
yeah,
remember.
you remember me. And it's, transformed our child and our family. And I have three children, but it transformed our whole family. So,
Oh, I'm
but
so
I do have, some finishing touches and like still some questions because it's like it's always a process of learning like new things, and she's still very much PDA.
yeah. Well, and we don't cease to be human even when we learn new skills and our kids are still navigating a nervous system disability or difference. So,
Mhm.
of course, there will be questions and challenges along the way, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I hope I can support you.
Thank
um,
you.
would you like me to read your question or would you like to state your question?
I think my question sums up. I read it again, and yeah, you could read it yourself. Sure.
Okay, cool. The question is, my child has come a long way since I did the paradigm shift program in 2024. I've been doing the work for about a year and see incredible improvement. She is playing with friends and becoming more safe and social every day. I started homeschooling her in March 2025, and this helped her as well. My problem is that she is 6 years old and she is pinching me and causing scratch marks on my arms as she falls asleep. I wonder what I am missing or if this is just something she must go through as she recovers from burnout.
Hmm.
Okay, is there anything you'd like to add or share for more context?
Sure. I only realized that she was out of burnout maybe like a month ago, um, because I saw all of her basic needs kind of improve
Mhm.
like together. So then I was like, oh, okay, she's out of burnout. And so, that happened about a month ago, just for context. But, if I'm not giving her one on one divided attention, like I was sick maybe about a month ago just for one day, and I couldn't leave the apartment with her. And like she cut a piece of her hair, which she would never really want to do because she loves her hair, like and that was the moment I was like, oh, okay. Even though she's out of burnout and I'm sick for one day, even one day, she can't tolerate boredom.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a big shocker, wake up call for me. And I just wanted to give you that as context, that like her basic, like, the video I saw of you guys last week with the mom who had the child who's constantly going to friends, neighbors. That's similar to my child, but she's 6. So she can't really leave the house alone yet until she's probably 9 or 10. So
Yeah.
like right now it's all on me to like take her to all these amazing adventures on playgrounds and things like that. And I haven't really been able to do it maybe like 3 days in the past month. And even those 3 days has really made her dysregulated.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely understand how that feels as a mom. My son was very, very similar, my older son, Cooper. And to a degree still is, although he has learned ways to find safety in nervous systems other than just mine. and that happened around the age of 7.
Mhm.
Um, and the first person who was truly safe, except for me, was his father. So it was like a very gradual branching out. Now, some of his safe nervous systems include teachers or his friends. And he's been able to engage with special interests more independently in a way that regulates him because he really likes football. So, like, he could sit alone and make football plays using a YouTube, um, like bouncing off of YouTube and like drawing out plays. But that took years to get to
Mhm.
that. And I know that's probably hard to hear.
Mhm.
Um, but we want to remember that for especially for an outgoing and externalized PDAer, which I think
Yes,
your
100%.
daughter is,
Yes.
um, more than with internalized expressions, and I know this because I have one in burnout who's 6 in the other room.
Mhm.
And this is one of the reasons I wasn't sure if he was PDA because he didn't need that constant one-on-one nervous system undivided attention, right?
Mhm.
So, unfortunately, or fortunately, like fortunately in the sense of like there's nothing you did wrong or could do differently to have made that distinct when you got sick or when you can't attend to her.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, it is an aspect of the nervous system disability of like even when you see older, like adult PDAers, they might need to have that nervous system safety in their partner or in friends, or they might find it in watching shows that they like or listening to podcasts, just needing that engagement much of the time to distract from a nervous system that is overactive.
Yes, that's something that I forgot to tell you, which is I'm an extreme internalized PDAer. So my daughter and I immediately knew I was as soon as I learned what PDA was. Like my daughter is I would call like on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe I'm exaggerating. She's like
11?
yeah, she's like an 11 externalizer,
Yeah,
and on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm an 11 internalizer.
yeah, yeah. And so, well, let me just ask you then, because I'm curious, like when you're thinking about, because when I think about PDA, there's like 5 characteristics that I've observed as patterns, right? And
Mhm.
the main one is that survival drive for autonomy or equality
Mhm.
that accumulates in the nervous system and over time can lead to burnout, disabling from access to basic needs, and equalizing behavior, which could be towards self if you're more internalized,
Mhm.
breaking things, self harm, unaliving ideation, things like
Mhm.
that. Or if you're an 11 externalizer, like our kids are, then it's like always directed at someone, like calling them names, criticizing, destroying things. Um, so
Mhm.
it would be survival drive for autonomy, equalizing. Um, it would be the fluctuating nature where like it's not what happened right before a tipping point, it's an accumulation over longer time horizons of the nervous system stress or load in the body.
Mhm.
um Masking, which is like subconscious perception of threat, like which way your nervous system pathway goes down. Does it go into functional freeze or is it more externalized? And then the fifth is the need for one-on-one attention and undivided attention, which I think it's more for externalizers. But since you mentioned that you are internalized PDA, like, do you feel like you sort of always need signals of safety to your
Yes.
nervous system? And what does that look like for you?
Okay, so yeah, that's why I mentioned it because when you were talking about signals of safety, like I always have a podcast on. I don't right now have enough space in my brain to like watch a fiction show. You know what I mean? Like when I was a little kid, the way that I felt safe was my mom, first of all. But then when she wasn't available, I was able to watch TV back in the 80s, I guess it was
Yeah.
80s and 90s. And we only had those three channels and PBS. We were like a family that didn't have cable. And so I would always like go to a friend's house to watch cable. And like I would always, the TV was my safe person. And so I would always find these girls who, like, once I was in fifth grade, I was able to make my own friendships, independent of my parents, because fifth grade and below, like, your parents have to do the play dates and things like that.
Yeah.
So like my mom gave me a lot of freedom once I was in fifth grade, like to do whatever I wanted to do with like friendships. So like I would always find the most like, how do I put this? I would always find a girl who was very not bossy, but you know what I mean, like
Extroverted or like
extroverted. That's the word, extroverted. So I would find that most extroverted girl in my class or in anywhere in a dance class or whatever, and they would sort of like take me along to whatever they were doing. I would be their like little shadow, you know what I mean? And so, they would be the ones who would beg their moms for me to come over. So I would always be over at someone's house. That's why the parent from last year or last week that was talking about the kid who was always at other people's houses, you know what I mean? I was that, but like the girl version who would always like go over to other people's houses. And we would be like watch cable TV and like, we would do other things, but it would mostly be like us watching TV, doing, teenage tween things, but I was never at home. I was always with a friend.
Yeah. Okay, so this is actually just a curiosity question because why not?
Okay.
Um, so one of the things that's hardest as a parent of an externalized PDA, or especially when they're 6,
Hmm.
who's just like it's not just needing to be around you, it's like needing your line of vision, your attention, maybe like mama, 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 right? You can't really do a lot of other things. So it's less of a shadow, which can allow for like doing laundry or like, returning a chat.
Hmm.
There's that pinging to the nervous system that's visible, right?
Right.
That we
Hmm.
feel as moms. And it's
Hmm.
like, oh my gosh, my nervous system and my space and my attention is not my own.
Hmm.
So, a hypothesis or a pattern that I've wondered about from speaking with other internalized PDA adults is like, is there any pinging going on internally of like, are they paying attention to me? Am I saying the right thing? Like, is
Hmm.
there
Yes.
pinging that you're just not sharing?
Yes. I can give you many examples if
Great.
you
I'd love to hear them.
want. So like I remember distinct and I still get a visceral emotion from this. My mom loved the Olympics. And to this day, I can't stand the Olympics because like she
She
would
was so
like
focused on it.
she would love it. She'd be focused on it, watching it. And it only came every 4 years, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But to me, it felt like she was not with me, and it just upset me so much. So I still hate the Olympics.
Yeah,
And
I
then
love
little examples like that, like, I mean, but yeah, like if, oh, totally. Like and that's why this program, I thought it was for my child, but it's actually helped me equally, for my own internalized, because yeah, I'm constantly like, I don't know. This sounds exaggerated, but like my heart is always beating, fast throughout the day. I don't know, you know, how my heart could take so much of it because like I'm constantly, and even though like I mask so well, so people wouldn't know, but yeah, throughout the day I'm always like scanning the room. I used to think that it was because I was like maybe like just highly sensitive, which I am, but like I can tell in the room like who, or maybe I'm projecting and it's not the truth, but I can tell in the room who's like not interested or who wants to leave a party or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Your neuroception is extremely turned into high gear,
yes.
right? So, yeah, and I think about it like this. Like for our children, there's a gift in the externalized child because you can never not notice their nervous system activation. There's a blessing and a curse.
Hmm.
The blessing is we're not missing anything. right?
Mhm.
Like, you see
Yeah.
it immediately,
Mhm.
right? Like, one day sick and you're like, "Oh my gosh," more equalizing, whatever it is, dysregulation, mama, mama. Um, and that is wonderful that we can see that, but, like, your experience as an internalizer, you still had that need, that pinging, and maybe you had the, like, "mama, mama" inside during the Olympics, but it wasn't coming out.
Mhm.
Both of those are coming from the same thing, I think, which is my body doesn't feel safe. Like, I just have a baseline of mobilization or freeze or shut down. And
Mhm.
if you're in more mobilization, like the heart racing and, you know, blood rushing to your extremities and cortisol, like, it can feel like physical pain,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I have diagnosed panic disorder, and so I'm very familiar with the way that it feels in a body when you are constantly feeling unsafe. It's a physical experience,
Mhm. Right.
right?
Yes.
So your daughter is feeling that when she is not pinging to you constantly, and that's hard.
Mhm.
Um, and I can't say that it's not crazy making,
Mhm.
but 2 things. 1, I don't think it's forever that you're the only, like, cell tower that she can ping to,
Mhm.
but I think even out of burnout, it will be a while that you're gonna see that being a part of her experience.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and 2, that's part of why I really do stand by PDA as a nervous system disability, not just because of the way it disables our children, but because of the level of caregiving that's needed to get them through just daily life.
Mhm.
And so that's part of what you're feeling and seeing.
Yeah, and one other thing is that because I am PDA, like, I'm always thinking, okay, like, I got better when I was 10. So I always
Mhm.
have like 10 as this magic number, or it's not that
Yeah.
I got better, but I was able to use someone other things besides my mom as a safe nervous system. So like, is 10 a magic number, or am I just making that up in my head? Or like,
Mhm.
also, like, why is 6 so difficult? Because I've heard you say like 6 is really difficult. And I am finding that, like, I find that like right now, I feel this is like the most difficult year.
Yeah.
Um, 6 and 5-ish, I guess.
Okay, so 5 and 6, this isn't true for everyone, but I like to talk about patterns because I have a very large sample at this point,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So, in my personal experience as a mom, 5 and 6 with my older externalized PDA was excruciatingly hard.
Mhm.
And I've seen that for a lot of families with externalizers. And this is why I think that is. I think for most neurodivergent kids, PDA or not, we have spiky development, right? Like, we
Mhm.
might have a gifted kid who's so brilliant and capable that they're operating at a 5th grade level at the age of 6 in certain academic areas, but they might be in a 4-year-old self-regulation and, like, emotional processing capacity, right?
Mhm.
We have
Yeah.
this spikiness, but, like, as a shorthand, I always just take 2 years away of, like, if I have a 6-year-old PDA-er, they're more like a 4-year-old,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
things started to feel less like I'm always caring for a child with a disability around the age of 8 for my son,
Mhm.
and that's kind of around the age of 6 in terms of self-regulation for a neurotypical kid.
Okay.
But I do feel like he's starting to sort of take off on his own in his own selfhood at the age of 10, almost 11 now. So it's interesting that you say that.
Mhm.
The reason I caution against magic ages is because parents, and this would not have been you because you, like, hit the ground running with taking action and change
Mhm.
the moment I met you, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Which is amazing. Um, Probably one of the parents I've seen, like, make changes the quickest ever, so I just wanna commend you for
Oh,
that.
thank you. Thank you.
Um,
It was out of desperation.
I know, we get too
But
desperate.
thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate that because I did immediately, like the moment I remember the moment I found out about it, I was like, okay, I'm changing everything immediately. So thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah, you did,
Mhm.
but that's not true of a lot of parents, and there's a lot of conditioning that we hear, about they'll grow out of it,
Right.
right? And so while they will develop cognitively and in terms of self-regulation just developmentally, I do see many, many more families with internalized PDAers in the, like, 11 through 18 range,
Hmm.
um, and that's when things really get hard because they go into burnout because they've been internalizing it for so long. So I think, like,
Hmm.
you're gonna keep making progress, it's just gonna be slow. It's just gonna be at the pace of your daughter's nervous system.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wanted to say this because my husband is one of those people who was slower to come around to it, and at first I was very stressed out about it. But now, and I just trusted what you said because you said, "Don't worry," like, or you didn't say it to me, but you said it in your podcasts, so in the class too, like, don't. And I didn't. I had to suspend my disbelief of you saying that because you were like, "You don't worry, like, it's okay if you're the only one on board at first," and you said everyone has a different uh what did you say, like a different timetable of acceptance. And like I trusted you, but I was like, no, it's not just like. And actually, you were right. After about 6 months, I was like, okay, she's right. Like it's okay if not everyone in the house is on board with it. Just and eventually, the acceptance will come later on their own timetable. And even if they never do accept it, it still gets better if there's one safe nervous system for an externalizer.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, okay, I wanna make sure we answer your pinching question, though.
Okay.
We went off on
So,
our own tangent.
oh yeah, I forgot my question. So basically, like, it happens to me and my husband at night. So like basically like during the day, I'm like constantly doing everything, going to playgrounds, doing messy play, baking, whatever you think a child could do. I'm doing 7,000 more things than what like so
Yeah, like
um
before 10 a.m., you've already done all of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've baked, we've drawn on the walls, like we've done things that are like everything. But then it gets to be like actually now she was going to bed like 1 a.m., right? When I
Yeah.
first started the program. Now she's going to bed like 8:30.
Wow.
Like I'm
Awesome.
shocked. I'm shocked at this. So but she won't I can't sit up and have her go to bed. I have to lie down next to her. So I kind of fall asleep a little bit and then that's when the pinching starts. So like I'm
Mhm.
trying to keep myself awake, but she senses that I'm not really paying attention to her because it's like bedtime. So the pinching starts around bedtime. And then the other problem is like I can't cut her. She won't let me cut her nails. So I cut her nails while she's sleeping. I don't know if that's bothering her, you know, because
Yeah.
she'll wake up and she'll be like, "Oh, you cut my nails." I'll be like, "Yeah," because like if you're pinching me, like I get scratches, so I have to cut them. So I don't know how to deal with that situation.
Got it, got it. Okay, so let's first go to the first A of
Mhm.
awareness. Do you feel like you understand the deep why of the pinching? And I mean, you sort of touched on it, but
Um, is it because like I'm not paying attention to her as she's falling asleep? Yeah, she can sense that I'm not. That I'm like, okay, we've had this long day. Now I'm like, you're going to sleep, and I'm not going to pay attention to you or something like that.
Yeah, so I think there's that. I think there's also, like, just in terms of basic needs, whether it's pooping in the toilet or feeling hunger or whatever it is, there can also be internal demands or losses of autonomy. So, like, you know, it's time for sleep. She might feel tired, but there can be sort of a like, I didn't give my body consent to be tired and move into sleeping, right? So there's
Oh, I didn't
even
think of that. Yeah.
even if you're
I think that's more her. Yeah.
yeah, so even
Yeah.
if you're like, "Hey, I'm giving you equality and autonomy and co-regulating and all the things," there still could be that like, like I wanna sleep, but I don't want to. You know how they can kinda get in that space, and then
Mhm.
she's, trying to exert control or equalizing with the pinching. So it's like twofold.
Right. I didn't think that through because I was like, "Oh, great, she's not going to sleep at 1 a.m. She's going to sleep at 8:30." So I didn't even think that she was still upset about that being a loss of autonomy by even the fact that she's getting sleepy that's bothering her, you mean?
Well, think of it like this. Remember, it's subconscious. So she's
Mhm.
probably not even aware. It's
Mhm.
just like, um, is my body not letting me do something, or is my body doing something that I didn't want it to do? Right? So it's like we can and you've probably felt this a lot, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as an internalized PDAer,
Mhm.
where no one's putting pressure on you, and maybe even society isn't putting pressure on you, so nothing external, but you have times where there's internal resistance where,
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe you feel like you need to go to the bathroom and you're doing something else and you're like have a nervous system reaction to that, or you are hungry and want to eat but your body won't let you, and it's not about body image or oops, I lost you. Hang on, folks. Hopefully we didn't lose our mom here. Yeah. All right. Well, we were talking about internal demands, or we can frame them as internal losses of autonomy, um, that can be read neuroceptively as threatening. So, this can be really difficult for parents because even if they've made all the changes and accommodations externally, our kids still have a survival drive for autonomy that can be impacted by their internal experience. So, are you okay? You
Yes,
disappeared
sorry.
on me.
that, that was I don't know what happened, but sorry about that.
No, it's okay. We're live, we're rolling.
Yeah.
This is
I'll
what
always come
happens.
back if I get kicked out. I'll always come back. I just gotta. I think something happened with my phone. That's all.
No problem. Okay, so I'm just gonna reflect back, like, does that those 2 root causes sort of make sense to you as the A of awareness of, like, what would be driving the pinching and scratching?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the next step would be, um, the decision-making part. So,
Hmm.
in what you're talking about, there's a couple decisions, like, we could think about. One is you mentioned, like, do I or you intimate you, like, touched on, like, should I keep cutting the nails? Does that have something to do with it?
Hmm.
Um, do I correct, set a boundary? Another decision we could think about is, like, do you wear something on your arms so that it's not gonna bother you? Do you try and stay awake so that you can prevent it by moving your arm? So, that's sort of, like, where my mind is going as the next step is, do you wanna think about making a decision around any of those things?
Yeah. I mean, I have been using like a pillow, but when you just said get cover your arms, like that just gave me Like, I was like, why didn't I think of that? Like, if I have some sort of like heavy sweater, because I get very hot at night, so I usually just have like a tank top. But if I wore like my jacket, well, it's getting to be winter now, so I could do that. If I wore something very heavy and just covered my whole body, then that would be, you
Is it
know,
around your whole body that she's scratching or just your arm?
well, because I'm lying next to her, the closest thing is my arm. So
Yeah.
it's usually just my arm, maybe my shoulder if she gets high enough.
Yeah.
So if she, that's like, that could be something I experiment with. Like if I wear long sleeves and she just scratches my arm, it would be okay. Like she has by accident, like gotten to my face, but I can move her down where my face is higher than her so she can't get to my face.
Yeah.
Um,
The other idea is, and I know this is like choosing between crappy options because if you're tired, I don't want to be like, don't fall asleep. Or
yeah.
you should wear clothes that make you hot and uncomfortable sensorily.
Mhm.
That's not the goal. I'm just trying to think about like, could the decision be, you know, as she's in that in between state, like you have one earbud in with music or something to sort of keep you awake enough to be like watching. And then when she
Yeah.
sleep.
I buried the lead here, Casey.
Yeah.
So
Tell
you're
me.
by talking about it, you're making me realize what's really going on. I mean, I don't know, but I don't, because I'm her mom, and you know, I can't, if when I had my other kids, I would just like, if when I would put them to sleep, I would be listening to a show in my ears with my earbuds, and I
Yeah.
would put them to sleep that way. But with her, I can't get away with that.
Yeah.
It's like I'm unable to be on a screen during waking hours when she's not engaged in something. So basically, and that's my
Safe nervous system.
thank you. That's my safe nervous system, which I need. So at night, when I go to sleep with her, I do put the earbuds in, and she knows, and she's like, "Get off your cell phone," you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so, like, but it's hard for me not to have that and just be lying down with her. So I notice the times when I do take it out and I'm just watching her fall asleep and like really, doing a meditation or like looking at her face and just
Yeah. Yeah.
literally watching her fall asleep. It doesn't happen as much, if at all.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, no, it's this temporary trade off
Yeah.
where it's like you're sacrificing your own safety in order to provide
Hmm.
safety. Um, I love that you said meditation because that's how I think of these types of things when it's like every cell in your body does not want to play, for example, but you
Hmm.
know that's what they need.
Hmm.
So the trick I use is I have a Fitbit and it buzzes so they wouldn't be able to see it. And I just set a little goal for myself of like for the next 5 minutes, I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm just going to be focused on trying to stay present by looking at sensory cues of theirs or feeling like the movement within my own body. And it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. It's like a spiritual practice, right? There's a
Hmm.
reason that meditation is hard because it's uncomfortable in our bodies and in our
Right.
minds. Um, but like with my younger son who's playing a ton of Minecraft, like he doesn't like it when I play because I don't know how to play Minecraft and he just wants his dad. So the way I do this, and I have to make myself do it because like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna create a reel or I'm gonna like, respond to a text because I'm bored. I
Right.
don't it's hard for me to just like watch Minecraft.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
So but I'll give myself little goals or experiments. Like, do I have the capacity in my nervous system today for the next 10 minutes to just be with him? And if I can't stand watching Minecraft, can I watch him? Can I try and notice him? Um, and it sounds like that could be the experiment here for you.
Hmm.
of just like something you're already doing, but feeling resistance around?
Mm-hmm.
And can we frame it so that it serves you? Like, that it feels meaningful, not just in the caregiving, but like, I'm training my own nervous system to be more present, or um, I'm learning to be mindful in this practice, or something that we can relate to like your own growth or goals so that it doesn't just feel like tedious as hell.
Right, right. Because it takes some time, like an hour, but I mean, that would be such a good thing to force me to do that,
Well, we
you know.
don't want to force anything with.
No, but yeah, I guess like I can totally do it and watch it, watch whatever game she's playing, or because that's what she does. She'll watch a game on her iPad or her phone before she goes to sleep. And sometimes if she goes to sleep in like 10 minutes, and sometimes it takes an hour. But like I can do it, but she picks up on my energy really well.
Mhm.
So um during the day I'm fine basically for the most part. I mean, of course, she'll pick up sometimes if I fall out of alignment with really caring about what she's doing, but like when I'm falling asleep with her, I'm starting to get sleepy too. So I guess I
Yeah.
need more of like a focused thing of what I should think in my head, or
Yeah. Well,
I mean, the meditation thing might be good. And I know, like, I think that's one piece that I've never really got onto through, like, I know you have some meditations in the course that we've done. That's one thing that's very difficult for me, but it's something I'm willing to experiment with.
okay. Or we could go in a totally different direction because, especially for you as a PDA, or like, we don't want to force anything that feels
Hmm.
like where there's resistance, because that's
Hmm.
just going to create more activation.
Right, like meditation, stuff like that. I can do it, but because maybe it's because I'm an internalized PDA, or some PDA, or sometimes like I get very it gets me more.
Yeah. So,
um
so no, let's not focus there then. So that's
okay.
why I asked about like meaning or growth or your special interests. Like, do you have any transformation activities that you are fascinated by, whether it's like knitting or baking or soldering or artistic stuff or thrifting?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have. I'm fascinated by um people who can, like, I'm fascinated by watching people do different types of artwork, like live art and things like that. I could maybe think of that in my head, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I think the key is like figuring out a way to get enough dopamine from your intellect inside of your head while you're focusing on her. So, like, the reason I mentioned transformation, like, what my brain does is when I have to watch Minecraft,
Hmm.
like, I start thinking about, like, who created this? Like, what was their thought process when they decided to have these different villagers? Do the villagers and zombies ever work together? Because, like, my special interest is humans, which I think is why it's so hard for me to watch Minecraft.
Right.
But, like, is there a way we can leverage your probably very brilliant brain,
Hmm.
your need for stimulation, your special interests, and whatever she's watching or doing?
Yes, that I
So we lost mom again, but that's okay.
oh,
She's going to come
it
back.
came
There
back
she
up.
is.
Sorry about that. So yeah, that just gave me that I can do. That gave me an aha moment, because I remember in one of your podcasts when you said, like, with your son, you can hear me, right?
Yep, yep.
When you said with your son, when you first went to the occupational therapist, and you were asking them about the carabiners and the wires and stuff like that. That put it that I loved that episode. That podcast really made a light bulb moment for me. I could do that with her. Like I could actually I couldn't meditate right now. I'm not at that point, but I could look at her games that she switches on and off and her YouTube shows and try to create like my own world within that, you know.
Like curiosity, like
Yeah.
just seeing where you can find connections or
Mhm.
linking ideas that you like to think about with what she's doing in creative ways.
Mhm.
Um, just so that it doesn't feel so painful while
Yeah.
you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my pain point is watching another person. And I remember being like that as a kid. See that brings me back to my mom's thing, you know. It's
Olympics,
it
baby. It's
it's
the
triggered me
Olympics.
because it triggered me because like I had to watch the Olympics with my mom, you know. And like now I have to watch this thing. Like I want to be in control of like what I watch on a screen. Day-to-day stuff I can do, you know, but the screens I like to be in control of, you know. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So let's experiment with your creativity and your intellect internally as a way to exert some autonomy and control, at least in your own perception of her screen.
Right.
And
Yeah.
just see if that can, like, help you stay awake a little bit longer, focus a little bit, at least from her perspective on her, because 'cause you're engaging with your thoughts,
Mhm.
and we can see if that softens things a little bit.
Yeah, this went down a whole other road than I thought it would, but I'm gonna experiment with this, and
Will you email me and tell me
I
what you
yes,
observe?
I will email you and tell you what I observed, because this whole PDA thing has also, you know, made me fascinated with like human behavior. So I'm actually genuinely curious how this will play out with her, and I think I think it'll make some sort of change. I'll let you know what the change is.
Yeah, yeah, it's an experiment. Well, I'm gonna wind us down because 'cause it's been almost 45 minutes, but
Yeah.
I really wanna say thank you for sharing and being vulnerable and, allowing me to get curious about you and your experience and as an internalized PDA woman, so thank you for being here.
My pleasure. And thank you for changing the trajectory of our family. It's very helpful.
You did that, you did
Thank
that.
you.
Alright, thank you so much,
Thank
and I'll look out for your email.
I'll definitely do that. All right.
But
Thanks,
no
Casey.
pressure, no demands.
No, no pressure. No, it'll be like 6 months from now. All
Totally.
right.
Alright, it was
All right.
nice
Thank
to meet
you.
you.
Bye.
Nice to see you, I mean.
Nice to see you too. Thank you, Casey.
Alright, everyone, thank you for being here, and we will see you again next week.